Welcome to Southwest Desert, where adventure meets the arid beauty of the American Southwest. Join us as we explore the rugged landscapes, uncover hidden historical gems, and dive deep into the rich legends and culture of this iconic region. Subscribe now and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on our latest desert adventures. Please leave a like or comment. This is very helpful. Let's journey together into the heart of the Southwest Desert. Picture this. A little girl kneels beside her bed in 1879, hands clasped in prayer. But instead of asking God to bless her family, she whispers, "Goodbye, God. We're going to Bodie." Her family is heading to a place so notorious that even children believe the Almighty wouldn't dare follow them there. Welcome to Bodie, California, a town so wild that "bad man from Bodie" became the most feared phrase in the American West. This wasn't just another mining camp. This was a place where 6 people could be gunned down in a single week, where undertakers from neighboring towns would send their toughest customers to Bodie to test their mettle and drum up business for local mortician. But how did a remote patch of high desert become the most notorious boomtown in American history? The answer lies with a Dutch adventurer, a wounded rabbit, and one of the richest gold strikes the West had ever seen. In 1859, waterman Bill Bodie was just another fortune seeker who had crossed the Sierra Nevada from California's Mother Lode country. He'd heard rumors of a strike near Mono Lake and figured he'd try his luck in this god-forsaken landscape of sagebrush and alkali dust. On what seemed like another disappointing day, Bodie spotted a wounded rabbit limping across the desert. Taking a shot at his potential dinner, he watched the rabbit tumble into a small hole. When Bodie went to retrieve it, his pick struck something that glittered like captured starlight, a vein of gold-bearing quartz. Tragically, Bill Bodie never lived to see his discovery transform the American West. Months later, attempting to reach his cabin through a brutal Sierra snowstorm, the man who gave Bodie its name froze to death in the mountains he had crossed to find his fortune. For nearly 15 years, Bodie's discovery lay dormant. While neighboring Aurora, Nevada thrived during the Civil War, Bodie slumbered in high desert silence with fewer than 20 frame houses, waiting for its moment of destiny. That moment came in the mid-1870s when 2 partners scraped together $50 to purchase what would become the legendary Standard Mine. For months, they barely kept themselves fed, working a seemingly worthless claim. Then, in 1876, the earth conspired in their favor. A sudden cave-in exposed an ore body so rich it defied belief. Before they understood what they'd uncovered, the partners had extracted $37,000 in gold and silver, selling the claim for $65,000. But the real drama was just beginning. At the nearby Bodie mine, stock trading at 25 cents per share rocketed to $55 when miners discovered an underground vein of incredible richness. Workers who had accepted stock instead of wages found themselves earning $880 per day. A Chinese launderer famously charged $55 to clean a single shirt, and the mine yielded $600,000 in ore monthly. When news broke in fall 1877, it shook the West like an alarm bell. From California's Mother Lode to Colorado's Pikes Peak, miners abandoned their claims and headed for this remote corner of the eastern Sierra. By February 1878, new arrivals struggled to find even a place to spread one's blankets. They came despite harsh conditions, chilling winds, sudden snowstorms, and thin air at 8,000 feet elevation. They arrived by horseback and 20-mule freight wagons, daily stagecoaches bouncing across the desert, bringing wave after wave of heavy-booted, wide-hatted adventurers. By 1878, 3,000 people called Bodie home. The town exploded with over 100 structures sporting false fronts and wooden awnings. 2 banks handled wealth from nearly 30 mines operating around the clock, while 3 breweries worked to quench miners' thirst. Bodie boasted half a dozen hotels, a dozen saloons with names like the Bonanza and Champion, 4 daily newspapers, the largest Chinatown west of San Francisco, and a sizable red light district. The town proudly claimed the widest streets of any western mining town, the wickedest men, and the worst climate out of doors. But violence truly set Bodie apart. This wasn't occasional barroom brawls. In Bodie, violence was elevated to an art form, a daily spectacle that shocked even hardened frontier veterans. The most notorious incident occurred in August 1879 when claim jumping evolved into full-scale warfare. The Owyhee and Jupiter mines engaged in a 2-day professional gunfight, with miners constructing makeshift forts and engaging in tactical maneuvers. When the Bodie Miners Union intervened with several hundred armed members, each side had lost 1 man, and the Jupiter superintendent received 24 hours to leave town. Even more legendary was Rough and Tumble Jack, described as one of the roughest and toughest customers ever known. In January 1878, Jack declared himself Bodie's undisputed chief. When challenged, he and his opponent stood 2 feet apart and emptied their weapons into each other. Both remained standing. As Jack fumbled to reload with a shattered arm, his challenger calmly finished him with a second shot. Such incidents occurred weekly, sometimes daily, usually unpunished. The breaking point came New Year's Eve 1879, when a man was killed for objecting to another dancing with his wife. Townspeople lynched the culprit, conducted a mock trial, and issued the verdict. Case dismissed, as the defendant was taken out and hanged by a mob. Violence wasn't confined to town. The cliff-lined canyon between Bodie and Aurora provided perfect terrain for bandits preying on daily stages carrying gold and silver bullion. In 1880 alone, stages were robbed at least 6 times, twice with both upstage and downstage robbed the same day. Wells Fargo brought in crack Canadian shotgun messenger Mike Tovey. On September 5, 1880, 2 bandits ambushed him near a previous robbery scene. In a legendary gunfight, Tovey killed 1 bandit, but while treating his wounded arm, the surviving robber escaped with the treasure chest. Amid chaos and violence, Bodie maintained peculiar community pride. In 1879, someone remembered their founder lay in an unmarked desert grave. Bill Bodie's remains were retrieved in triumph, displayed for days as citizens handled the bones, then reburied with ceremony at Boot Hill on November 1, 1879. 2 years later, an elaborate headstone arrived by 20 Mule Team. But President Garfield had just been assassinated, so the monument became a Garfield Memorial instead. Bodie remained in his transplanted but forgotten grave. When the Bodie and Benton Railroad was planned to connect the town to the main line, Chinese workers imported for construction sparked the adoption of "the Chinese must go." A mob traveled 40 miles to Mono Lake, only to find the Chinese workers had been warned and taken to an island sanctuary in the brine lake. The frustrated mob's failed Mono fiasco became such an embarrassment it became taboo in Bodie. By 1882, Bodie's noontide was ending. Miners left for new strikes in Arizona and Colorado. Mining stocks collapsed in 1883, and by 1887, the Standard merged with the Bodie mine as underground treasure was exhausted. Bodie followed the pattern of Western mining camps: rich strike, uproarious stampede, hour of frenzied triumph, and afterward the shell of a town standing in ghostly silence. But Jim Kane refused to accept Bodie's death. Arriving during the boom, he gradually bought up mines and buildings until he owned virtually the entire town. Every day at 10 a.m., he opened the Bank of Bodie for ground squirrel customers and tourists arriving after 1920s highway access improved. Kane spent decades showing visitors the ghost town, always promising Bodie would return to former glory. He maintained unwavering faith that wealth and excitement would return to this remote eastern Sierra corner. Today, Bodie stands as one of America's best-preserved ghost towns, its weathered buildings bearing silent witness to one of the most violent and extraordinary chapters in Western history. The little girl who said goodbye to God before entering this lawless realm could never have imagined Bodie's legacy would endure long after its guns fell silent. In the end, Bodie proved that in the American West, fortunes could be made and lost instantly, that violence and community could coexist in unlikely ways, and that the line between civilization and chaos was thinner than the mountain air surrounding this remarkable, terrible, and utterly unforgettable town. Join my Patreon community and discover my art print products on my website in the links provided in my description and link above. Also, if you would like a particular image from my videos, give the timestamp for image and I will upload it to my website and Patreon. Thank you for joining your desert frontiersman Alan for another Southwest Gold story. Check out my large catalog of Southwest videos and playlists on historical tales, legends, lost gold stories, and adult bedtime stories. If you like a certain image from my videos, tell me in comments and give timestamp. Happy trails! Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more great content. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.